Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Prime Minister Davis rejecting the claims that the government broke the law with regards to the Procurement Act. Former Prime Minister Minutes renewing calls for the elimination of taxes on food. And the Road Traffic Department explaining that outage they had recently. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, January 30th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll get an update on the National Youth Guard and their latest cohort, what you need to know about it, where things are right now. And later in business, we're talking with the Water and Sewage Corporation about their digital meter rollout. That's all ahead on this busy Thursday. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the Davis administration has failed to fully report on all the contracts it's entered into and is in breach of public procurement, the Public Procurement Act. That's according to opposition leader Michael Pintard. But Prime Minister Philip Davis rejecting that claim, accusing Pintard of acting dishonorably. Pintard said the government started publishing monthly reports on some contracts on a website. However, he said this was done with little fanfare. He tabled one of the reports in Parliament, saying they've not reported on all procurement and major ministries, including the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation. Pintard, during debate on the movable properties compendium of bills in the House yesterday, saying, quote, "We ask them to refute it by simply indicating whether or not this report on their site is true or false. By virtue of the information provided in this limited reporting, we have here a government that is in open violation of the Public Procurement Act in both the numbers and value of the contracts it is awarded by direct or sole sourcing." Pintard challenged the government to explain why it awarded contracts without going to competitive bidding. Later in the debate, during the contribution of Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe, a row broke out between Pintard and Davis. The Prime Minister was not in the chamber during Pintard's initial comments. You can read all about how it went in today's Nassau Guardian. Former Prime Minister Hubert Minnis once again calling on the government to remove all taxes on food, claiming that a recently announced plan to have the VAT rate on food items does not go far enough. He said, quote, "In my view, that given the nature, It's my view that given the nature of the global inflation crisis, much of which was spurred by the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath, the governing party should eliminate all taxes on food. This would include VAT and customs duties. Speaking in the House yesterday, beginning April 1st, the government will lower VAT from 10% to 5% on food sold in grocery stores, except for cooked or prepared meals sold at delis. The rate will also apply to the importation of food into the country. But Minnis says it's a measure he supports, but doesn't believe it will provide adequate relief. Economic Affairs Minister Michael Halkitis has said the government anticipates it will lose an estimated $30 million in revenue from the planned 50% VAT cut. It's unclear how much would be lost from Minnis's proposed elimination of all taxes on food items, but he says the revenue loss could be made up elsewhere. The Ministry of Energy and Transport denying claims that a recent disruption in printing services at Road Traffic Department was a result of non-payment to vendors. The ministry in a statement saying that there's been no change to the technology and platform provider and that it adheres strictly to public procurement guidelines and best practices, and that a change to the technology provider would require a request for services proposals in the government procurement portal. On Monday and Tuesday, it said that all road traffic locations were not able to process payments due to a temporary system outage in which all the printing devices across the network lost configurations. The issue has since been resolved, and the ministry says all road traffic department offices are again fully operational. A man pleading guilty to causing the death of a man in a wrong-way crash on Frederick Street. Prince Dean pleaded guilty to vehicular manslaughter when he appeared before Justice Renee McKay. He was ordered to pay $20,000 in compensation to his victim's sister and placed on probation for 3 years. At 1:55 a.m. on June 8, 2022, Dean headed north on Frederick Street and hit another car, which lost control and fatally struck Winston Davis, who was on the sidewalk. Davis's sister was in court to receive the money. Dean avoided spending 2 years in prison by paying the money. He'll be sent to prison for 2 years if he breaches the terms of his probation. Overseas, a jet with 60 passengers and 4 crew members collided with an Army helicopter while landing at Ronald Reagan National Airport near Washington, D.C., prompting a large search and rescue operation in the nearby Potomac River. The aircraft that collided Wednesday was a Bombardier CRJ-701 twin-engine plane carrying 64 people. It collided with a UH-60 Blackhawk helicopter. It's not clear yet how many people were killed. Fatal crashes of commercial aircraft in the U.S. have become a rarity. The deadliest recent crash took place on February 12, 2009, near Buffalo, New York. What caused the collision is unclear at this time. The Federal Aviation Administration says the mid-air collision occurred around 9 p.m. last night when a regional jet that had departed from Wichita, Kansas, collided with the military Black Hawk helicopter while on approach to an airport runway. The helicopter was on a training flight. The precise number of victims is unclear. American Airlines says 60 passengers and 4 crew were on the plane. 3 soldiers were on the helicopter. Officials who held a press conference at the airport did not announce any deaths, but they all had a somber tone. So far this morning, at least 10 bodies have been recovered from the river. Hamas-led militants freed 8 hostages today in the latest release since a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip took hold earlier this month. Israel expected to release another 110 Palestinian prisoners. The release was delayed by a chaotic scene in which a crowd of Palestinians surrounded and jeered at hostages as they were turned over to the Red Cross. The truce is aimed at winding down the deadliest and most destructive war ever fought between Israel and Hamas, whose October 7, 2023 attack into Israel sparked the fighting. It is held has held a truce despite a dispute earlier this week over the sequence in which the hostages were released. Hundreds of militants from Hamas and a smaller Islamic Jihad group arrived with a convoy and a show of truce and show of force, and thousands of people gathered to watch, some of them on rooftops of bombed-out buildings. Many in the crowd shouted and surrounded the masked militants as they pushed people away and escorted the freed hostage through. And U.S. President Donald Trump, who made the deportation of immigrants a central part of his campaign and presidency, is saying that the U.S. will use a detention center at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba to hold tens of thousands of the worst criminal aliens, his words. Trump saying at the signing of the Laken Riley Act, quote, "We're going to send them out to Guantanamo." He later signed a presidential memorandum and said he'd direct federal officials to get facilities ready to receive criminal immigrants in the U.S. illegally. Border Czar Tom Homan said U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, would run the facility. Details of the plan still not immediately clear. And El Salvador's Congress ratifying a constitutional reform that will make it easier and faster to make constitutional changes in the future. A change critics say will allow President Nayib Bukele and his party to further consolidate power. Previously, constitutional reforms had to be proposed and approved in one legislature, then ratified in the subsequent Congress following elections. The second part of that happened Wednesday. The proposed reform was initially approved by the previous legislature last April. Now, reforms can be swept through with just the vote of 3/4 of the legislators. Bukele's New Ideas Party holds 54 seats, and its allies 3 more in the 60-seat unicameral Congress. The head of the New Ideas in Congress, Christian Guevara, signaled the new expedited reform mechanism would be used to eliminate the country's contentious public financing of campaigns. Political parties receive more money from the government based on the number of votes they obtain in elections, or have to return money that was advanced if their vote totals fall short of expectations. In sports, each year the Star Performers Track and Field Classic is one of the most well-attended meets on the local track and field calendar, in large part because of how it caters to young athletes from all around the country. This year expected to be no different. Athletes coming in from Grand Bahama, Abaco, Andros, and Exuma. The one-day meet set for Saturday, February 1st, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the original Thomas A. Robinson Track and Field Stadium. In addition to the hundreds of athletes from New Providence, meet director David Charlton says there are more than 150 coming in from Grand Bahama and the Family Islands, most of whom are looking to qualify for the 2025 Carifta Games. And Baylor University Bears freshman Valdez Vijay Edgecombe demonstrating his skills and why he's considered a high lottery pick in next year's NBA draft. Edgecombe scoring a game-high 28 points, dishing out 5 assists, grabbing 4 rebounds, and recording a block on Tuesday night. Unfortunately, despite his impressive performance, the Baylor Bears fell to the Brigham Young University Cougars in a closely contested overtime battle, 93-89 in Provo, Utah. That game attracted a crowd of 17,297 fans. Edgecombe speaking after the game, unfazed by the presence of NBA scouts in attendance who were keen to observe a lineup of talented freshmen, including BYU's Igor Demin and Cannon Catchings. Read what he had to say in today's Guardian Sports section. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got an uneventful weather pattern coupled with drier, cooler conditions that will remain in place across the islands today. That's thanks to the influence of a dry air mass within a high-pressure system emerging off the coast of the Carolinas in the U.S. Surface ridging from the system will be driving relatively stronger gusty winds across the Bahamas by later this evening as the high moves further into the Atlantic. So, high pressure with occasional pulses of fresh breezes will continue to dominate weather across the country. As that high drifts further eastwards into the Atlantic, the effect of that frontal boundary meandering near the northern Bahamas will into this weekend into the early part of next week, along with a deep layered ridge over the country. That's going to kick a warming trend, quite warm for February. And a dry spell will continue with little to no rainfall for the first few days of the new month. We've also got a near gale watch in effect for the southeast Bahamas. There is a possibility of mist and patchy fog in the early morning hours during the rest of this week. And so everyone's being advised to keep that in mind if you're out on the streets. And folks, for the love of God, please have your headlights on, especially if you don't see the sun in the sky. There's also an elevated risk of rip currents occurring along northern, eastern, and Atlantic shorelines of the southeast Bahamas and along Atlantic beaches beginning tonight. So for today, we're looking at sunny conditions turning fair tonight over most areas. Less than a 10% chance of showers. Winds northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots, shifting east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots at times. For the northern and northwest Bahamas, 15 to 20 knots by later this afternoon. For the central and southeast Bahamas, up to about 25 knots by this evening. High temperatures today around 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 62 Fahrenheit, 16 Celsius. The upper 70s possible for the extreme northern, the upper 50s for the extreme northern Bahamas tonight. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Cades Village, or call 396-1100.
Spain sounds like this. But with a little Caribbean, it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner. With increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools, take your business worldwide and enjoy life a bit more like us.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from around the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969 or 224-796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now in Grand Bahama, Laverne Gardner. Laverne, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Great. I'm good, thank you.
Wonderful stuff. Okay, we got a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to be talking with the National Youth Guard, get an update on where things stand with this wonderful program, and find out details about the latest cohort. And later in business, this could be a very interesting, maybe even a game changer, digital meters for the Water and Sewage Corporation. They're rolling them out. We're going to find out what we can expect in our 9 o'clock hour. That's all ahead. But first, right now, it's time for the to talk about what's in the news. And in the news, Laverne, we're seeing some sad news coming out of Grand Bahama. A teacher collapsing and dying. The Tribune writing about it today. The sudden death of Jack Hayward Junior High School teacher Melody Gilbert, who collapsed on Tuesday at the Ministry of Education, shocking teachers, students, education, and union officials in Grand Bahama. A team of psychologists and school guidance counselors dispatched to the junior high school campus after Gilbert died shortly after being taken to the hospital. She was 50 years old. It's pretty sad to hear that. Condolences to everybody, especially her family.
Yeah, it was very, very sad. I knew her.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, my condolences to you as well. Right. Yeah. And this very sad story coming out of Washington, D.C., this plane crash, well, the collision with a helicopter right at the airport there, Reagan National Airport. Everyone presumed to be dead, unfortunately, it seems, after this collision over the Potomac River. And it's very cold in Washington, D.C., and the water is pretty much freezing. And this happened last night, and they've only recovered a few bodies so far. So this is being called one of the worst aviation disasters in the U.S. in a very long time. And my goodness. And we're hearing that there were some athletes on it, figure skaters coming from or going to a competition, U.S. and even Russian figure skaters, and it's going to be a rough time for a lot of people. Now, all right, so the House met yesterday. Lots of stories about the shenanigans in the House. The big headlines in the Nassau Guardian. PM rejects claim. This is Michael Pintard again alleging that the government violated the terms of the Procurement Act. The Prime Minister is saying that there's no attempt to silence the FNM. And this is during the House of Assembly sittings and debates. Fred Mitchell firing back at Adrian White's claims on the use of luxury cars for the Washington, D.C. embassy. Hubert Minnis renewing calls for the elimination of taxes on food. He says cutting the VAT in half for food won't go far enough. Yeah. This is catching my eye, though. Two stories in the Tribune today. Sweeting. This is Clay Sweeting. This is St. Anne's MP Adrian White saying that the Family Islands Affairs and Works Minister Clay Sweeting should resign after last week's local government elections. So the story here saying, this is in the Tribune, the elections experienced challenges such as ballot errors. White said that, quote, the execution was sloppy and inconsistent with a confidence-inspiring democratic exercise. Confusion abounded as people offered and ran who ought to have been ineligible. There were delays in balloting at several polling stations. More than a week after polling, official results are still not available. Some swearing-in ceremonies have been postponed indefinitely. And the acting parliamentary commissioner's explanation of challenged circumstances does very little to remedy the obvious blunder. Clearly, the rushed, poorly organized, chaotic affair is unbecoming of a nation that claims to value the democratic process. On Tuesday, acting parliamentary registration commissioner Arthur Taylor rejected claims that his institution was unprepared for the recent local government elections. Taylor insisted that only 3 polling divisions in Bimini, Harbor Island, and North Eleuthera encountered problems, which he primarily attributed to bad weather. Could not operate that morning and transport ballot boxes due to heavy fog. He admitted ballot errors in polling divisions 9 and 10 in Governor's Harbor. White noted that a cabinet minister once resigned because of mishandling the local government electoral process, citing in 2008, former F&M Lands and Local Government Minister Sidney Colley resigned after a court determined the proper processes were not followed in the run-up to the local government elections. Well, Sweeting did not substantively address complaints about the local government election last night, but he said the Department of Local Government fulfilled its responsibilities, held meetings with the Parliamentary Registration Department, and provided assistance. He challenged Dwight to substantiate his claims that there has been an indefinite postponement of swearing-in exercises. I mean, that's a major claim. Indefinite? Okay. He noted that the Local Government Act allows a 2-week window for elected officials to be sworn in. Exercises would be carried out within the time frame prescribed by law. Sweeting said, quote, if Mr. White were to be in touch with reality, much less local government, he would know that elections were held less than a week ago. I would remind Mr. White that the conduct of both local government and general elections are the responsibility of the Parliamentary Registration Department, the governing legislation for electoral processes in the Parliamentary Elections Act. All right. Interesting stuff there. Laverne, Grand Bahama has local government there, and you had elections. I know you were telling me that you were going out to vote. How was it for you?
Very smooth. Yeah, there were no issues where we were our polling division. We were able to go right in and get it done, and that was it.
There have been claims.
I didn't hear of any issues. Go ahead.
Yeah, there have been claims that people didn't know about it. The turnout was low. That folks didn't nominate or get to nominate. They were caught off guard. Is that accurate? Is that possible? I mean, these years, right?
Right. I can't say if folks didn't know. I knew. People I spoke with knew that it was happening. Low voter turnout. That could possibly be correct.
But that might be a symptom of something else.
Absolutely. I think that, and this is my view, we don't get local government in the sense that a properly functioning local government endued with the rights and privileges and powers that local government should have is a beautiful thing. But our focus is always on the main election, right? Big election. And sometimes we overlook, we don't see local government as important. And really, if we had a proper functioning local government, we would be more excited about going to vote and who our elected officials will be in local government than in central government, because local government is supposed to be where the magic happens, if I can use that term, in the communities. The things that we tend to look to our members of parliament for are really things that should be happening at the local level. These men and women should be empowered to address immediate concerns going on in the constituencies and in various communities.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, as you know, that isn't always the case. Central government is overly involved and very much protective of the power that they have. And so,
do you think
voter turnout, because they're like, what sense does it make?
Yeah.
Oh, I have my MP number.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to go to my MP. When really your members of parliament should be in the House, as they should, discussing and legislating, things that will impact the
nation,
country, the nation.
So do you think the changes that were made to the Local Government Act recently, last year, that are now in effect, that will help to eventually, clearly it hasn't happened yet, but eventually change the mindset of the people who are lucky enough to have local government in their communities?
I think that part of that, yes, if we continue the messaging and talking about it and, making it very public, having these education campaigns so that we get the right messaging out there that local government done correctly is where things will happen that you want to see happen that you're talking about for your community.
Yeah.
Not necessarily you calling your member of parliament or, I haven't seen my member of parliament and whatever else you called your member of parliament for.
Well, when we had Minister Clay Sweeting ago, they were expecting that there wouldn't be as many people nominating or maybe even low turnout because of how the system has functioned over the past few years, where it has been watered down and the focus has been on central government. So they're thinking with time, people seeing that more power will be in the hands of the local government officials, that more people will take an interest. So we will see. We will see.
We'll see. Yeah. And members of parliament can help too. So when the phone rings about these situations, it really and truly you speak with local government. This is who you need. Yes, they are endued with the power to make these things happen.
Now,
but
yeah,
but
that's a very good point you're making.
Power.
Yeah, well,
power, right.
Well, I mean, all of these things are power, but I think title might be what some people are very interested in. So,
we have a reputation about titles, even if the pay isn't commensurate with the title, but just to say I'm the boss.
Wow.
That's the ability to be able to say that for some is very addictive.
Yeah. I do want to say.
I would agree about the low voter turnout from what I saw. Over the years, going and voting in local government, you see the difference.
Yeah.
In the voter turnout.
I do want to say the Parliamentary Registration Department, we've got a problem with the Parliamentary Registration Department. We've got a big problem. I think how many controllers or acting controllers, commissioners, whatever they call them, have we had since the last general election? I mean, this is what, every year it's a different person? And we're still on that purple paper voter's card.
Like, it's an issue for me.
Big issue.
That is an issue for me.
Clearly, the way certain people are carrying on, we're going to have a general election very soon, sooner than we think. It's obvious, right? And yet we're still on this stupid purple idiotic paper card.
Purple paper with your photo stuck to it and everything handwritten. I mean, and this isn't like we have to figure out. Systems are already in place that you can get this done in a better way.
Yeah. I would have thought that the local government election might have been a good way to test out a new card, a permanent card. Right? We've had many years. This is but it looks like are we gonna be there again with the purple card? This will be the third straight general election with that one.
I think so. I think we're still gonna have
It's a total disgrace, an embarrassment, ridiculous.
These cards we could have picked up, like you said. Local government would have been an opportune time for us to test this out. If there were any hiccups in preparation for the general election, whenever the election gods determine that we should have elections, because of course we don't have fixed dates for that. So whenever they wake up and say, you know what?
Wow, let's get your reaction to it, folks. Let's hear from you. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Quite interesting. I love the conversation this morning. We look at the mere fact that the local government aspect has been something that many Bahamians have been talking about. Of course, we all realize that the systems currently in use will have to be revamped. That entails take into consideration removing the power of the MP for that area and actually putting the power, the day-to-day power into the hands of a board that will govern what goes. I don't know even if we could call it constituency. We might have to call it district or something, so we could have that separation from one district to the next.
That's what they call them.
Know that, and we all can appreciate that it is all about power in this country. it's going to be very difficult for a lot of these persons who today have power in their hands to release that power.
Who cares?
And take a more diminished role in terms of the day-to-day operation, where you have persons talking about, well, I'm going to my MP for this, or I'm going to my MP for that, and the MP is responsible.
Jeff,
for
I
this.
need all of us to stop saying that. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares what those 30-something people, how they feel? It's not about them. It's about what's going to work best for this country. And too bad for them. If they want the power, go be a local government representative. Shut up about it.
I am totally in agreement with you on that, Dwight, because I am also sick and tired of hearing that as well. We know that in this town is all about political favors. We now need to run this country as a business and not as a personal or political patronage for some of these persons. Let them earn their living by merit and not by giving them the opportunity to do things which in many cases they're not even qualified to do. But anyway, I will continue to listen to the conversation. I may chime in a little later as the conversation progresses.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right. Let's take this call really quickly. We want to move on to another issue. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes. How you doing, Dwight? How you doing, Levine?
Hi. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, Dwight. What is amazing is that now for almost 3 years, we've been talking about a contract that has, I think, been given to a foreign company for the digitization of the voters card or for the database.
We have?
Yes.
What? Where was I? Was I?
Company?
Where was I sleeping? When did that happen? Who's we? Who's been talking about that?
Who's
this
company?
I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure in my memory says that a discussion was been having about
discussion. You mean like at a bar around drinks or something? I mean,
contract. What you do is call Mr. Wayne Monroe.
Okay.
And I hope I'm wrong.
Because I don't have space to waste on nonsense.
Right.
News
But see,
to me.
the problem we're going to have is the fact that we have yet to develop a national ID system, because what we have is a truncated concept of what citizenship is. It's amazing that we would say the passport is the only means by which you can identify in the true sense of who that you're a citizen, an ID-wise. But we don't have an equal amount of passport to the equal amount of voters. And so the question then becomes, how do you authenticate one with the other? And so you would have to, by now, in the amount of time, we would have had to, in the same respect that you go for a passport, you'd have to present the same information for a voter's card. Mm-hmm. And so this is where relational database comes in from the ID system. I am one in strengthening our data protection laws and giving a national ID, on your phone, instead of the paperwork, that you could have a digital ID on the phone that allows you to identify whether it be driver's license, this, that, or it would also allow us to identify it. Digitization that we talk about, these things that I talk about, these are not new concepts. These are stuff that I know to exist for 20 and 30 years.
I think at this point, children in high school could make a digital voter's card. This is not hard. Let me ask you this question, Seattle. Somebody's texting saying that that NIB card could have and should have been used as the voter's card. What do you think of that?
No, it could have. But see, the thing about it is that, again, what you're doing is you're starting from the middle or something. You should have a master card or a master database that substantiates up and down rather than a cross section, because you are entitled to a national insurance card, whether you're citizens or not, once you have a legitimate right to be in the country for working.
Yeah.
But so what you have to do is you have to have
Well, it'd have to look different and be a different type of card for those folks, right?
But this is where, even for driver's license, use an example. A person in the Bahamas that is here for, say, on a 5-year work permit or whatever, different background for citizens, non-citizens, teenagers, licensed, these type of things. Mm-hmm. In the same respect, we can have an ID card that identifies whether a person is a citizen, a resident, or a work permit holder. This is a database that does this.
Yeah, that's easy.
And so, and believe it or not, 500,000 people, like you say, is a school district. Okay? It's not like some mass different things. I mean, we love to reinvent things. I've seen us creating new databases and stuff that Google and SAP and all these other people have spent billions, if not trillions of dollars already developing and mastering it, and have millions of people and millions of transactions that happen every single day, every single hour. And we're saying, we're going to reinvent the wheel, and we're going to do this ourselves. And we're not even going to use those who have succeeded as a reference point. We'll just make it up ourselves.
Yeah.
But we need a national ID system.
Absolutely.
In the immediate, because let me just end it this way. A national ID system allows us to digitize our birth certificates, which already been done. Believe it or not, there's a benchmark publishing. 20 years paid for the digitization of these different things, from the birth records, from the death records, from these the court records, all of these different things. And so once you be able to identify across things, and remember, keep saying, you need one ID, you don't have to share the same information to the same people over and over again. It's been a decade or longer, and we have not been able to achieve what should be done in 1 year.
Yeah.
And so what we need is a national ID system. It'll solve our immigration problem. It'll solve a whole lot of issues that we have. But the question you have to ask yourself, why don't these people want to do it? And that's the million-dollar question, because there has to be profit in the chaos and corruption.
Indeed. Thank you very much. I think we all have figured that one out by now. Somebody likes it like this. Let's take this call before we move on. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Cousin Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Laverne.
Good morning.
I can tell you what is happening. I am Patriot number 7. There are 7 patriots, behaving patriotic people that think alike. We are putting the government in court, the Governor General and all of those persons for voter fraud and handing out of illegal passports and stuff in this country. We are almost at the point of an injunction. I can tell you what we discovered as the Patriots. We have over 600 newspaper clippings of people vying for citizenship, right? Just recently, and as far back as June. And some of those persons who ain't get citizenship yet, we checked the voter registry kiosk, and a lot of them are already on the voter list. Some have pictures, some don't. I can tell you what is happening. So if we don't do something about it now, there'll be massive voter fraud. Again, citizenships given out like Skittles. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. And you're sure they don't have the same name? You're sure they're not junior or senior? Okay. I hear you.
I'm sure they're going to do their research.
Yeah,
they
their due diligence, as they say. Hey, they'll do their due diligence. Interesting. This person says here that purple card is emblematic of how the entire government is run. This is laughable and a total disgrace, especially at the dawn of the AGI, artificial general intelligence era. They all need to be fired. Okay, all right. Callers, we'll get back to you in a second. Let me just read these messages. This person says here, oh boy, it's about Michael Pintard saying that, for God's sake, Michael Pintard was saying the government broke the law from the loss of the government. Take the PLP to court or move on. Move on, Pintard. The texter goes on to say, Americans don't take state elections as seriously as presidential elections. We're no different. Local elections don't get much results. Oh my gosh, so many things I want to say. Hey, oh boy. There's some people who won't take it as seriously, and the media definitely don't. Most states will not cover, right? They won't cover most state elections the way they cover certain states and the presidential election. So I don't know if you are right in saying that. Of course, some people won't care as much, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't.
Right.
So the things that you need to look at the U.S. for.
It may not be as covered in some states as it is in others, or doesn't mean that those people are not taking it seriously.
I mean, this texter, unless you live in Nebraska, you don't know how that is being covered, because you definitely won't see that on the national news coverage.
Right.
So you can't say this. But also, just because they're doing it or not doing it doesn't mean we should do it or not do it. right? The things that
We
I
still
wish
need
you would
a
copy.
properly functioning
Yeah.
local government set up in a way that it will most benefit the people in their districts, constituencies, communities, whatever you want to call it. And if we put emphasis on setting that up, sure that the people who are elected have the power, are empowered to make the kinds of impactful decisions that need to be made at the community level, you will find that there is a change eventually that people will begin to recognize, hey, this is where we need to be looking to make sure that things are getting done. And again, we don't know how seriously the people take it in those different states because we don't necessarily watch every one of those local stations,
Yeah, definitely
right?
not. All right.
So, but even if they don't, even if they do not, we need to.
Yeah.
Come on, we can't continue to function the way that we have been functioning.
The majority of Americans probably have never eaten conch. What does that mean? We shouldn't eat it? What are you talking about? It's crazy. The things I wish you would copy from them, you don't. And the things that I don't understand it. I just don't. But anyway, here's the text. The minister should have been fired because some polls didn't open until 1 p.m. Also, local government head office should not be in Nassau. That ministry should be in Grand Bahama or Grace carrying these mashup purple cards to vote. Where is the technology in 2025? This is what happens when we have a 1950 leader in 2025, carbon paper and scotch tape voter's card. Suck my teeth. This crew got to go. All right.
Dexter, you must have seen me when I took out and I was looking at my card. I was like just looking at it going, can't believe this when I go to vote with.
Wow. So is it the minister that should be fired or just reorganization of this department that is clearly in chaos? Again, it doesn't even make sense getting to know the person who is the head of the department. Every year there's been someone different for the past 5 years.
Let's just be clear, Dwight. Let's just be clear. Nobody getting fired and nobody resigning, right? We always say this.
Hey.
But no, in this, if I could borrow this word, in this dispensation, nobody's getting fired and nobody's resigning.
Wow.
Next.
This texter says this local government structure needs to be revamped. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Okay. As
local
someone who
government.
What you mean?
You know what it means.
What was proposed years ago?
Yeah.
As someone who voted in Grand Bahama before, it's only a jumpstart political career for political hopefuls, toothless, lazy tigers. Okay, or the whole thing's a toothless, lazy tiger. Okay. The government is a disgrace. Local government ministers should have resigned just like how Sidney Colley did when the elections were not ready. So this seems like a tit for tat, though, because somebody from the F&M resigned. Now you want this. Okay. Well, if that will help, boy.
Texters and callers, stop. Nobody is going to resign and nobody is going to get fired.
They go on to say, also, local government 2025 could have been a testing ground for the new updated system. We lack leadership in this country. Okay. This texter says here, so which party has been elected and actually done anything to transform the way we operate this country? We have no real improved systems. Administration after administration have only maintained the stupid systems that have existed. You might be right. We do not understand, or they're saying Dwight Strachan does not understand governance. I don't know what they're saying.
Okay.
There's been local government in Zurich, Switzerland for thousands of years. The local government works there. Oh, you're saying the people don't. Okay. My relative is living and working there. Yeah, we aren't doing it right at all. The attempts that have been made with the new act, they're a step in the right direction, but so much more can and needs to be done. But again, a lot of people will have to change their mentality, as you said earlier, Laverne, to not have to go running to the MP or the minister or the prime minister to get their little tiny issues resolved. And that's going to be a very bitter pill for a lot of people to swallow. But, This person says, yeah, you're so quick to argue. I am all for local government, just saying that people don't think local government officials will be effective. Yeah, because many of us keep saying things like that they don't think that. No, you just stop saying that. Just tell them it's going to work. You have a problem with how it's fixed? You have a problem with the fact that you don't have a bus system here? You have a problem with the fact that nothing is going the way you would expect things to go in 2025? Yeah, it's time for a different way to do things. And remove the power
Stop
from the
being
hands.
so quick to argue, Dwight.
Okay. Well, be clear. Be clear. I don't want to hear the excuses. Oh, people don't
Dwight,
want.
you can't.
The
Dwight,
MPs
you
won't
cannot
like
write
this.
the text, read the text, and rebut the text. Okay? You can't write it, read it, and rebut it.
Okay.
So stop being so quick.
I
to
could,
argue.
but it would be very exhausting.
Dwight, if I'm honest, I believe that you do sometimes.
No, I wish.
I believe that you send some of those texts. I'm going to be
not
honest.
to this show, maybe to others. Please educate your callers. The government doesn't control the elections. The parliamentary office acts independently. The parliamentary secretary or whatever, the person who's in charge of that department should resign. That's what they're saying.
It's not happening.
Who do you think wrote that? Who do you think wrote that one? Local government, You're all in all solution at work. What? I told you before, local government here is only smaller, big government. Nothing different, buddy. Well, you don't have any thing to prove this. I mean, what we had is not local government in the way it should work, in any form that is effective anywhere in the world. So we don't have it. So you can't say this, right? And local government all over the world works. And when there are bad apples, which there will be, the public deals with them. You can recall them, you vote them out, whatever it takes. So I don't know why you keep saying this.
So that you can keep saying what you're saying.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To provoke a response.
Probably. All right. Let's take these calls really quickly, and I just want to get to one article before we have to take a break here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning to all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Dwight, don't fight me. I just said on this phone to see how long you used to keep me on. Hey, Dwight, I have a suggestion. You don't think you could read those facts like when you don't have no calls? But anyhow, that ain't what I call.
Read the what?
That's a suggestion.
Read the what when we don't have calls?
The text. The
hello?
text.
Well, sometimes the calls are annoying like this one, so that's why I read them. But go on.
Listen. Listen. I don't need no more national identification. You guys are trying to make people make people prisoners in their own country. We have cards. If your license with the police asks you to present or any other identification card you have ain't valid, that ain't my problem. If I have a license, that should be valid through the government, hey man, listen, come on man. I'm trying to make people. You don't feel this country just getting like what? I don't need none. Thank you guys. You have a good day, man.
Okay. Well, you run a risk of getting to a lot of challenges if you present a driver's license to go and vote. I could see that going in a crazy direction, right? So that's the reason.
No.
You shouldn't have to be traveling around with your passport to get things done in your own country. It's a travel document, and too many people are using that as a form of identification. It's very bizarre.
Because that's what's asked for, Dwight.
Yeah, that's insane. And
People,
if I decide I don't want to travel,
you know what? I'm going to just use my passport.
Okay.
No, when you go to places, what do they ask you for?
Yeah, it's dumb.
Your passport.
We got to stop it. That has to stop. And if I decide I don't want to travel and my passport's expired and I come to your place and you tell me I need ID and I give you my expired passport, you can't tell me, this is not valid. There's not. What the hell? Are you in a different country? Why does it need to be valid? You're right on Robinson Road. Shut your mouth and look at the ID and don't say stupidness to me. This is insane. This is insane. We need to get it together. This place is insane. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Sir. I am in agreement with you on that last point about the validity of the passport in terms of the expiration date versus it being used as a form of identification. and I am also think it shouldn't be necessary for you to have it in you at all time. But even right now with Trump world, it seems that is also required to have your passport so they put you in the deportment trailer. My concern is about another situation. When in let's say about 90 in the late 80s, our driver's license was a piece of paper. It wasn't a card. So we have improved since then and have driver's license with photographs and all of that. I hear a lot of people talking about this purple card, and it looks like it's not so much the purple, but I guess the way it is done is on a non-electronic format and have it written down and all of that. Yes, it's time for us to move on from that. If you misplace your voter card, you can go there and get a photocopy of that same purple paper or whatever color it is.
Joy.
Yes. So we can move on from there, but we need to even be a little more independent of the local government. Of some of these countries that say they have local government, we need to be fully thinking about the good of the Bahamas. Now, I must confess that I am also a beneficiary of what my MP do or what my minister do. So we're used to that, and so habits and practices are hard to change.
Okay, thanks a lot. All right, so I'm getting a message from.
We could learn and grow.
Yeah, getting a message from a banker that the central bank of expired passport is valid for ID. And if it's a bank or institution regulated by the central bank, then they have to accept it. But I'm saying some places
Can
really
I get
don't.
this in right?
Right.
Because I have to prove this.
Plenty places will tell you.
Texter, please let me know where I can find this information from central bank. I want to prove this theory.
Yeah.
I want to prove this.
Plenty places will say, no, this is expired. So obviously they're not paying attention. Or maybe they're not regulated by the central bank. But some people are not getting it. Let's take this call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Sister Laverne.
Hi.
Good morning.
Thankful Thursday, man. Let's be thankful today. Amen? Amen.
Yeah.
Dwight,
I'm thankful every day.
Every day is the day of Thanksgiving. Let the church say amen. We keep going around in circles. And I believe until we get a national development plan, we're going to be just like the hamster, just spinning. Why can't we have, Mr. Felix Stubbs had said that until the plan comes from the ground and go up, nothing will change. Is this something that the people of New Providence want? All right. Why don't the government come and ask the people what do they want?
Some do, but some people don't know that they want it or know that they need it, and that is part of the problem too.
Give the people what they want. Okay, this is a democratic. This is not a dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
If the people want local government, give local government. I look at Donald Trump and his executive order. The U.S. don't have a national development plan. He put 100 executive orders. I'm sure if they had a national development plan, he wouldn't be able to do the foolishness that he's doing now with stop, review, and cancel. We just like them. They just like us. One president do this, another one president, they come back and they do what they want to do. Dwight, why can't we have, like the U.S., have multiple questions on the ballot and an election coming up in about a year and so? Put the question, do you want local government on the island of New Providence?
Mm-hmm.
Have multiple questions.
So referendum. Include referendum questions.
Exit poll question to know what the people are thinking. You're not governing for yourself and our plan and our manifesto. That's your manifesto. What about the people's plan? What about the people? Okay? And so that's how we need to hold our government accountable.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Well, lots of people telling me to calm down and asking if I'm okay this morning. I'll be okay after this
What
news
is
break.
fine? He's good.
This is just, hey.
Yeah.
I'll just go and look at my purple voter's card during the break, and that'll calm me down. Yeah, hopefully my coffee won't spill on it, Laverne. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We'll be back.
I get to know your name. Well, I can trace your private number, baby. All I know is that's me. You look like a lot of fun. Open up your loving arms. I want some. I set my sights on you. I know what else to do. And I've got to have my way now, baby. All I know is that's me. You look like you're having fun. Open up your loving arms. Watch out here right now. You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record, baby, right round, round, round. You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record, baby, right round, round, round.
Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through decision to every new adventure. RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
It is time for your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. We've got an uneventful weather pattern coupled with drier, cooler conditions that it's going to remain in place across the islands today, thanks to the influence of a dry air mass within a high-pressure system emerging off the coast of the Carolinas. Surface ridging from the system will bring in relatively stronger gusty winds across the country by nightfall as it migrates further into the Atlantic. So high pressure with occasional pulses of fresh breezes will continue across the majority of the country for the next few days as the high will drift further into the Atlantic. So the effect of a frontal boundary meandering near the northern Bahamas this weekend into early next week, along with a deep layered ridge over the country, will kickstart a warming trend, an unpleasant warming trend for February, and a continued dry spell for the first few days of the new month. We've also got a near gale watch in effect for the southeast Bahamas, and there's a possibility of patchy fog in the early morning hours of the next few days. So keep that in mind for motorists and pedestrians. There is an elevated risk of rip currents along northern, eastern, and Atlantic shorelines in the southeast Bahamas, as well as all Atlantic beaches beginning tonight. Beachgoers and swimmers should exercise caution. Your forecast for today, sunny, turning mostly fair tonight across most areas. We've only got about a 10% chance of showers across the country. High temperatures around 82 Fahrenheit, 28 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 62 Fahrenheit, 17 Celsius. Could be the upper 50s, around 15 Celsius for the extreme northern islands. In your extended outlook for Friday, tomorrow, mostly sunny, turning fair at night. By Saturday and Sunday, partly sunny to sunny, turning mostly fair at night. Pretty much the same for Monday, partly cloudy in the northern Bahamas, partly sunny, turning mostly fair at night for the rest of the country, holding through to Tuesday and Wednesday. And much warmer pattern, highs as high as the mid-80s for the first week of February. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today. And time for a look at traffic brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solution with RBC. All right, so we've got a lot going on, folks. We've got Junior Junkanoo tonight, and they're going to be road closures. You need to pay attention to this. So beginning 4 p.m. until the conclusion of the parade, these streets are going to be closed. Bay Street between Navy Line Road and Elizabeth Avenue, both sides. Parliament Street between East Street and Bay Street. Frederick Street between East Hill and Bay Street. Charlotte Street between Woods Rogers Wharf and Shirley Street, and East Street between Shirley and Bay Street. So vehicles traveling westbound on Shirley will be diverted south onto Collins Avenue, and vehicles traveling northbound on Blue Hill Road will be diverted west onto Marlborough Street. Vehicles traveling northbound on Nassau Street will be diverted west onto West Bay Street. In terms of parking, starting at 4 o'clock until the conclusion of the parade, no vehicles will be allowed to park on Bay Street between Navy Line Road and Victoria Avenue, Navy Line Road, Shirley Street between Frederick Street and Collins Avenue, Frederick Street between Shirley and Woods Rogers Wharf, Charlotte between Woods Rogers Wharf and Shirley Street, Parliament Street between Woods Rogers Wharf and East Hill Street. So, if you're not going to Junior Junkanoo, get out of the downtown area before 4 o'clock. And if you are, pay attention to the restrictions this evening. That is tonight, folks. In your real-time traffic right now, we're seeing a lot of heavy traffic on West Bay Street. From Saunders Beach, as you head eastbound near New Providence Highway, the roundabout there, you're going to be seeing some slow-moving traffic. And then things get heavy again near Arawak Key through into downtown. So that's near Nassau Street, and the whole downtown area looking pretty busy for you. So it's northbound on Blue Hill Road, eastbound on Bay Street, westbound on Shirley Street, East Street, where you're going to be seeing those issues as preparations are probably underway now for the parade tonight. Elsewhere, we've got Eastern Road, heavy traffic as usual from just west of San Souci to Johnson Road if you're heading westbound. Soldier Road near Bernard Wolfe and Village Road, heavy traffic northbound for you there, southbound on Village Road as well. And of course, Bernard Road near the schools in the area seeing some slow-moving traffic. Prince Charles Drive, the major intersections, especially as you get closer to Beatrice Avenue, and Soldier Road into Robinson Road, slow-moving westbound traffic this morning. And as usual, Carmichael Road into Blue Hill, that's eastbound. Blue Hill Road busy for you from St. Vincent straight up to Independence Drive. Northbound mainly, and Milo Butler Highway, heavy traffic for you from Fire Trail straight up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway, backed up a bit on Tawny Williams Darling Highway westbound to the roundabout. Six-second roundabout, multiple directions, seeing heavy traffic, especially northbound at this hour. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Don't forget, you can start a conversation at RBC.
You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, buddy. The Tourism Development Corporation helps to develop and grow behemoth businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what I say, boy? Oh, yeah. Develop and grow. You don't know what all the things saying do? What does do?
Check the website once. Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment.
Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Are you ready to burst of flavor? Look no further than Dunkin', your ultimate destination for everything delicious. From our freshly brewed coffee that is sure to pick you up, to our signature frozen beverages that will cool you down. And don't forget our mouth-watering sandwiches, made to order all day. Dunkin' has it all. And of course, our lineup of fresh donuts, muffins, and more. Dive into a world of yummy flavors at Dunkin' and bring joy to your day. The Bahamas runs on Dunkin'.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
The CIBC Caribbean Realtors Hub helps potential homeowners meet their best fit. Phew.
Honey, you missed a spot.
Enjoy up to 95% financing and up to 35 years to repay. And you'll discover everything you need to know about finding and buying your dream home.
I'm on it, there.
Make your biggest move yet. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/Realtors Hub to get started today.
On Saturday, February 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m., the Bahama Convention Center will set the stage for an unforgettable celebration of 25 years of giving back and supporting healthcare education in the Bahamas. Experience a night of excitement with exquisite fine dining, captivating live entertainment, and an inspiring atmosphere as we come together to celebrate and shape a brighter, healthier future. Tickets are available now. Reserve your spot today by emailing dhfoundation@doctorshosp.com or calling 242-302-4640. Sponsorship opportunities are also available to show your support for this important cause. The Doctors Hospital Maya Rassin Foundation. 25 years of transforming healthcare and building a legacy. Don't miss this special celebration.
The Water and Sewage Corporation is rolling out new digital meters designed to give you more accurate readings. With advanced technology, you'll be able to monitor your accurate bills and early leak detection to avoid costly surprises. Better service starts now. Watch for our installation team in your neighborhood and get ready to experience the convenience of digital meters. Follow us on our social media platforms for more information. Digital meters from the Water and Sewage Corporation. Innovative, convenient, and designed for you.
Pender is carrying a new line of tile, the Sky series of porcelain. Comes in 4 colors, tones, and shades. There's Sky Noir, Sky Azure, Sky Glance, and this one, Sky Gris. Sky Gris, as you'd imagine, gives you a smoky kind of feel. It's not heavy and depressing, but gives the area a chill feeling. The Sky series comes in 2 formats, 24 by 24 at $5.30 a square foot, 12 by 24 at $5.25 a square foot. I really like this series for big spaces, and being porcelain, they can take a lot of traffic. The Sky series at Pender Tile.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
We're back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. Just letting you know, so we've been telling you about the road closures for Junior Junkanoo tonight already. We just told you in the traffic report that there's some congestion in the downtown area, so it looks like some detours are already underway, not only after 4 o'clock. So if you're heading in that direction, keep that in mind. You're going to see delays. As traffic is being diverted already. So again, avoid the downtown area if you can. All right, so Laverne, we'll get back to what's in the news a little bit later in the show, but right now we need to talk about the National Youth Guard and some exciting things happening, as always with them. Here to tell us all about this, we're very pleased to force Chief Petty Officer Michael Ring. Good morning. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne. How are you?
Not bad at all. Not bad. All right, so we've had the National Youth Guard a few times on the show, but for those who might not be familiar with this, tell everybody what the National Youth Guard is all about.
All right, so the Bahamas National Youth Guard is an OPM initiative. The Ministry of National Security facilitates it, and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, we actually execute their wishes.
Mm-hmm.
The Bahamas National Youth Guard, we're now going into our 4th cohort.
4th, wow.
Yes, and our aim is to arm young 18 to 25-year-olds with the skills needed to assist in times of disaster. BTVI, the National Training Agency, various different other certifications in order to empower them. So by the time they're finished with our training, they're able to go out and be marketable in the job world.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk more about the training. What exactly do they see exactly when they're in the programs?
All right, so the training consists of 16 weeks of training. 10 weeks. Within that first 10 weeks, the first 4 weeks are geared toward the major certificates, the STCW course. And the STCW course is an internationally recognized course that if you want to work on board crafts, on board ships, it is recognized all around the world. Then you have an OSHA course. That's a safety course. So if you work on a construction site, we have had an individual forget on his construction site. He's now the safety officer on his construction site.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have BTVI. BTVI comes in for about 4 weeks. And in that 4 weeks, they do plumbing, electrical, carpentry. They also touch on soft skills, computer, with Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. Also, at the end of that 10 weeks, there's a 6-week internship phase where individuals would then further the things that they've learned within the first 10 weeks on those job sites. And some people are actually hired after that 6-week internship phase.
Yeah. So what type? Where exactly do they do the internships? You mentioned
so they've
construction
been at
sites.
They've been at BPL. They go at the National Training Agency, Office of the Prime Minister. They go to Water and Sewage. They go to different places. And then in Freeport, like if you are from Freeport or if you are from a different island, we would reach out to even private sponsors. We've had Stotts Cove that's hired a young individual from Moores Island, and he was able to pursue what he was always doing for a better salary in Nassau. So the different things that happening on the islands, if you do not want to do an internship in Nassau and you're from an island, we would then fly you back and organize.
So you said you need to be 18 to 25.
It is 18 to 25, but if you are 17, have you just graduated high school, with your parents' consent, we will accept you into the program. They just have to write something.
What if you just turned 26?
You just turned 26. I'm sure.
Laverne and I are wondering if we can get it.
No,
Josh turned 26. Josh.
Yeah, but we won't deny anybody that wants to volunteer and help in the Bahamas.
Oh,
but the age is the age, and we wanna stick to that core group because in the event of a storm, these are going to be the strong individuals that are going to be able to do some actual work. We all saw after Hurricane Dorian what happened in Grand Baham and Abaco. And like I say, these young individuals, they wanted to assist, but hey, we could only lift some things, we could only move some things. But now, in the event that something does happen, and God willing, it doesn't happen, we're going to have a core group that are trained, and they're going to be able to actually be on the ground and assist. And also, at the end of the 16-week training, there's a 2-year call-up. So we really ask these individuals to be available for that 2 years or longer, but 2 years, so that they can assist and be deployed to different islands in the event that something does happen.
Wow. All right, so you mentioned, are there physical requirements?
Yeah, so there are not physical requirements to get in.
Okay.
But while you're there, there is going to be some physical. The day pretty much consists, it copies and it mirrors Defense Force training in almost every way, except for the intensity.
Okay.
So it's not going to be as intense as our training, our basic training, but it's going to be more tailored to the civilian. But the time structure, you're going to be up at 0430 to be out for 05 to start PT at 0530. You're going to work out for an hour. After you finish working out, you're going to have some breakfast. After breakfast, you're going to have to clean up your area with your roommates. Dental inspection, also a room inspection.
So for the 16 weeks, you'll be living...
Just for the 10 weeks, you're going to live.
10 weeks, the first 10 weeks.
First 10 weeks, and then after that 10 weeks, you're going to transition, you're going to go home, and you're going to be adulting, getting to work on time, being dressed appropriately at those jobs. And that's where one of our partners, the National Training Agency, comes in. They teach them how to walk, how to talk, how to react, how to get themselves in a work frame, so that when they go to these jobs, they're not going to have... Females are not going to have on tight clothes. The fellas are going to pull their belt up and wear the tie properly and, just guide them in the work structure.
Yeah.
I just want to point out in this age in which we live that males also wear tight clothes.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
You don't want anybody to be too tight up, as they say.
Yes, you want to be appropriately dressed in the environment that you're in.
Right. All right. So for the 10 weeks, you're living on the Defense Force base, or where are you exactly?
Yes, we are at HMBS Coral Harbor, and that is our Defense Force base. So yeah, every day for that 10 weeks and for the entire 16 and hopefully on is a military environment from day one. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right. So 18 to 25. But are there any other requirements? Like, do you have to have finished high school? Do you have to have a clean record? What are the things that people need to keep in mind?
Yeah. So when you apply, we're gonna need you to have a Bahamian passport. So in addition to the Bahamian passport, your national insurance, we need you to be NHI registered and also have a Bank of the Bahamas account. So
it has to be Bank of the Bahamas?
Yeah, they're going to be paid through Bank of the Bahamas.
Okay.
Yes. So those are the requirements. The grades. We want you to submit your grades in the event that there is openings or you meet the requirements for one of the forces or any other position that may become available to us and we may know. We can actually guide those individuals. So the 5 BJCs with C and above for math and English. I think that's the requirement for Defense Force and the police. And then, so if you meet those requirements, we're going to make sure that you fill out your application properly and put everything where it needs to be to ensure that these young individuals do join. We've had police officers who were part of the National Youth Guard. We also have a few Defense Force officers who are part, and also immigration officer. She was in cohort 2. So we've had 3 cohorts, and within those 3 so far, it's been a success. They're making strides, and not even in the government world, but even some have gotten security jobs or had extra clearance given to their security jobs, other situations that they never had.
So if you don't have the BGACs or the BGCSEs, what then?
Yeah, so we're going to push you into BTVI. So BTVI has a program that has some type of equivalency for math and an English BJC. So once you complete that, it's going to be equivalent. And then, not everybody is academic. You may go to BTVI. And we had a young female in Freeport that spoke to some 12th graders because last weekend we did a refresher course for cohorts 1, 2, and 3 on Grand Bahama. And that is the first time that has been done. And it was receptive. And within that time, we spoke to the 12th graders at Bishop Michael Elden, St. George's. It was well received, and the information that we got from them and what we gave them, they appreciated. On the ground, we had 2 youth guards who live in Freeport in uniform that also spoke to these individuals, and they got a male aspect and a female aspect. And a young female said that she never thought that she would have been interested in electrical. So she's now in Freeport.
Oh wow!
Makeup on, nails on, but she's actually she's pursuing that. She's working in that field as an apprentice, but she's trying to get better at it. So it opened up her eyes to something that she never thought that she could possibly do.
Considered.
Never considered it. She's a girly girl, so it's like to have her, in the steel toe boots and hard hat, and actually show me pictures on her at a work site. It was good.
So in the event, as you say, God forbid, hurricane season, what happens? You are called up to serve?
Yeah, so there's gonna be a clarion call. Hey, time to lift and shift. Like I said, the training is designed to get their minds ready, because the first 2 weeks of training and for the duration, there really isn't any electronics. So especially for the first 2 weeks, we're gonna be mommy, daddy, friend. We're gonna be everybody that you're gonna see. Your squad mates are gonna be your friends. Even if you don't want to talk to them, you're gonna talk to them, because they're all you're gonna have for the first 2 weeks.
Right.
At the end of that 2 weeks, they're gonna have communication with the phones. But the idea of that is to get them ready for, in case we are deployed to an island, there isn't going to be any electronics. The electricity isn't going to be there. We're not going to have them living in air-conditioned environments. So they're going to live comfortable, but they're not going to be, in a cushy environment. Because after a storm, there's no cushy.
No.
So we're trying to get their minds ready and their bodies ready with the physical work and with the mind play that you can't have access to this, because in that time you may not have access to it. Yeah.
All right. So there is a stipend.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I'm glad you said that. So the stipend is $150 a week, some $600 a month, and you paid that for the entire 16 weeks. All right. So, and a lot of people ask, so what after the 16 weeks? After the 16 weeks, we do have some initiatives that happen, and some of them are paid minimum wage for the hours that they would work, that they would have assist. And then some initiatives are pure voluntary. Like in the Christmas, we did voluntary work at the Salvation Army. And they weren't paid for that. It was like, hey, we need to do this good thing, because the Salvation Army gave out 500 gift bags for the elderly.
Right.
And then we also had an initiative, a crime initiative, where we walked through in Ridgeland and also the Grove area, where we did surveys for a couple hours each night for 1 week. And they were paid for that. So some things are paid and some things aren't. But the money is $150, but what they receive hundreds and some thousands of dollars worth of education through the certificates, because it's about 14 certificates that they would receive at the end. And these things make them marketable.
Yeah.
Before they didn't have anything in the file. When you go to a job, hey, looking for a job, but now you can say, hey, I've worked along with the police that taught me about fire safety. So I have a certification. You would do some first aid, so you're going to know what to do in the event that you are in a storm. Suppose there's a fire, you're going to put your back on to the door and not open up the door, because if you open up the door, the oxygen is going to engulf the area, so you're going to get burned. So stuff along the line. They're going to know how to move somebody in the event that someone looks like they're injured. You're not just going to pull on them.
Right.
You're going to actually ask them some questions. Hey, can you breathe? Can you hear me? Can you feel this? So it's like some steps before you actually move a casualty on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. All right. So you have a recruitment pop-up coming up. We want to get to that in just a bit. We got some calls coming in. Let's take these calls really quickly. We're talking with Chief Petty Officer Michael Ring. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your guest.
Hi.
This is an excellent program.
Definitely.
Oh, man, fully endorse this. I hope it's protected for the long haul. Like the urban renewal, like how they had to put it into an authority for it to be, so it can outlive the various governments. I think that needs to be pushed from there, too. To be a part, a staple that stays, because I think it's a great way to assist ills, especially with the youth and crime and all of that. Definitely, fully endorse this.
Yeah.
And so sharing the information, keep up the great work.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, this is a fantastic program. Let's take one final call here. Good morning, caller. You are on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there?
Yes, good morning, Dwight, and good morning to the officer.
Morning.
You know, Dwight, I have been saying that I applaud the government and their initiative to employ young men and those persons who perhaps may not have gotten, the academic requirements to enter into the workforce. But Dwight, I live in the inner city, right? And unfortunately, the people who need these kind of things, they're not listening to these type of. They don't have the type of parents who are interested, who listen to these type of show, who reads the newspaper or listen to the news.
Yeah, so you take the information and go to them and tell the people you know.
Dwight, these people need to come in the inner city. Right now, I know of a young man, right? He's an intelligent young fellow, right? He's going to be 18 next month. He doesn't have a passport.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any type of thing. I've been trying to get the parents. I said, give me the documents. I'll get his passport. He's a candidate for gangs and other things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do nothing. The young man is just floating. And he's just one of multiple people out there. These individuals need to go in these communities, grab these young fellas, and make sure, like how the minister said, a lot of these individuals who are arrested, they don't have any form of documents. They don't have no passport, no nothing.
All right, so
And so these type of organs need to come in the inner city.
And this is what they're going to do. So listen to what Chief Petty Officer Michael Ring's going to tell you about the pop-up that's happening, and you go to that young man and tell him he needs to come out this Saturday to this. We all have to do this now, right? We have to play this role. Right. You know somebody who is in danger, heading down the wrong path, you need to take the information to them, to tell them to help themselves, right?
All right, so I'm glad that question came up. And we're going to be at the Uriah McPhee Primary School, and we're also going to be at the New Way Native Baptist Church in Ingliston. So those are two inner city communities that we're going to be in, and we're going to be there from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and we will be registering some people on the spot. Like I say, go to your people do you know, go to your friends, go to your families, go to the church organizations, spread the word like hot gossip, because this is good gossip. Mm-hmm. Go and spread the word. We have a lot of young people. I was a part of the Ranger program for 10 years. I've spoken to young individuals pretty much all across the Bahamas, and they say, hey, 12th graders, what are you going to do when you graduate? A lot of them raise their hand and say, we're going to do this and going to do that. Year later, they're sitting on the parents' couch, marching it down. I told them in Freeport, and I heard this growing up. You're like roaches in the middle of the night, just going through your parents' fridge. You're not contributing to what's in the cupboard. Yeah. So now here's your chance. Here's your chance to contribute. Receive some money that you've never had, you've never gotten it. Receive some certifications. Learn in a structured environment, gain some new friends. There's nothing like networking. And I said before, we're going to be in the inner city. We're going to be at the Uriah McPhee Primary School in Camp Road from 1 to 5. And we're also going to be at the New Way Native Baptist Church in Ingliston from 1 to 5. Our officers are going to be out there. We're going to be registering people. Bring out your documents. In the event that you aren't able to come, you can also go to nyg.bahamas.gov.bs. I'm going to say it again, nyg.bahamas.gov.bs, or contact us at 819-1121, 819-1121. People, aunties, uncles, friends, godparents. These godparents, some people stood and some people walked away. Wow. But, this is the time to call up. Hey, I heard this thing on the radio. I saw this thing on Facebook. Let's try and make it happen, because a lot of people have seen it through Facebook. And, like the gentleman said, a lot of young people might not hear the radio shows. Mm-hmm. But when we do the interviews, like we've been doing for the past 3 weeks, a lot of people, we've seen it on Facebook, or a friend of ours went through it, or they heard about it, and they weren't quite sure when they went to the interview, but we enlightened them on what it is. Mm-hmm. And to this date, we've had the most people that we've ever had that actually applied. So the young people are getting involved. Yeah. They want to do better. They're hearing about the pop-ups. And we were in Pinewood last Saturday, And that initiative was amazing. We had a lot of people that applied, and we want to ensure that that when we start this next cohort, and the next cohort is scheduled to start February 8th.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so it's right there. So
Wow, right around the corner.
Mine is right there.
Do you have a limit on how many people can get into that cohort?
Well, we don't want to say what the limit is. We just want to see what we're looking at.
Okay.
We've had people come in all this week accepting their acceptance letters and signing their consent forms so far. But we are still doing the pop-ups. We are still doing the applications. So we are still accepting people.
So February 8th, you need to be prepared to move into the...
February 8th. And like I said, we are...
That's a week from Saturday.
Yes, it is. And we are flying in people from Bimini to Inagua. You know, we are flying in young individuals free of charge. They don't have to pay to get here. We telling them what to bring. So, hey, don't bring your whole wardrobe. You're going to bring 6 underpants. You're going to bring 6 socks. You're going to bring 6 shirts. You're going to bring your tennis shoes. You're going to bring a casual dress or some type of, like a church or office attire, because that's what you're going to wear. The clothes that you're going to wear in training, we're going to provide for you.
Wow.
We're going to pay you. Your meals are free for 10 weeks. Like I told them, hey, a common number is 25. You spend $25 a day on lunch. For 7 days, that's $175. For 10 weeks, that's $1,750. We even had that money to spend.
Wow.
So breakfast, lunch, and dinner is free. The education is free. They're going to be paid to learn. You understand? They're going to receive hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of certificates that they can actually go and put on a file. We're going to teach them how to create their resumes, put together their CVs. By the time they're finished with this program, they're going to look attractive. They're going to be like a car that has tire shine on the tire.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, this is amazing. All right, so for Saturday, what do people need to bring?
All right, so like I said before, bring your passports. Bring your national insurance card. We're going to need you to eventually get a police record that says you don't have any record. So if you don't have that, I know it's kind of short notice, but if you don't have it, you can actually bring it in like the next 1 or 2 days that you're able to. You can bring your certifications. So bring in all these stuff for us. We need you to have a Bank of the Bahamas account by February 8th so you can be paid. The process isn't that long. We've had people go in to BOB and just get it.
Okay.
And we need you to go on and get registered with NHI. So in the event that, something happens, you're going to be able to, transition you easily to get some medical assistance.
All right, so this will be a very exciting week to get you into the program for February 8th.
Yes, very much so. Like I say, young people, they are interested. They are applying. I've had friends call me who haven't spoken to in years. Hey, I heard you on the radio. Hey, you still doing the National Youth Guard? We need to get this young man in. I need to get my son and my nephew in because he isn't doing anything. She isn't doing anything. So people are calling. People are trying to get them in, and they're trying to ensure that we not just arming our young people with the violence. We're trying to arm them with the skills to be the salt of the earth, season the earth, be the seasoned environments. Just do better.
Absolutely. We'll call on this, and then we'll just have you give the information one more time, Michael Ring. But caller, good morning. You're on the air. You got about 30 seconds.
Good morning, Dwight. Sorry, I just had a call back. Can I give a suggestion to them? I know they were on the Pinewood Park, and I think they got a great response because they were in the open and everyone saw them. And maybe they may want to put their various visits to the communities, not rather in a building, but put it in a park, open area, in a general area where everyone could see, and then they'll be drawn into it and get the information. You'll have a greater success.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Awesome. I will be spreading this word. This is an excellent program. Oh. Excellent. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much. All right, so one more time, let people know what's happening Saturday and how they can get more information about the National Youth Guard.
All right, so Saturday, February 1st, we're going to be at the Uriah McPhee School and in Kemp Road, and we're also going to be at the New Way Native Baptist Church in Ingliston. Those hours are 1 to 5. When you come out, bring your national insurance cards, bring your certificates that you may have. We're going to need you to get your police records. Like I said, the Bank of the Bahamas, that's the way you're going to be paid, so we're going to need that. If you want to get paid, please make that happen. Right. Also, you can contact us at nyg.bahamas.gov.bs, nyg.bahamas.gov.bs, 819-1121, 819-1121, or follow us on Facebook. And on the Facebook, you can see the things that we've done. And follow the prompts. So those are the ways that you can contact us.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, where is New Native Baptist Church?
All right,
exactly?
This is in Ingliston, next to the constituency office. Okay. So right in Ingliston, next to the constituency office, that's where the New Way Baptist, Native Baptist Church is.
Mm-hmm. So somewhere near Balfour Avenue.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. This is very exciting. Again, so you're looking for cohort 4.
Cohort 4.
Wow. Great stuff. I hope people spread the word. If you don't think the young person was listening, you tell them about it, and we're going to post this as well on our pages. So, Chief Petty Officer Michael Ring, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Dwight.
Yeah, and again, keep up the great work. This is a very wonderful program. The Bahamas National Youth Guard, folks. We're going to be back after the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Here's the Sure-winning art store moment from Shelley and Dee Dee.
We're the only full art store in the Bahamas. If we don't have it, we make a list, and trust me, our boss can get that. If you need that, he can get that. You can find sketchbooks, acrylics, the canvases in all sizes, stencils. We have the Angelus that they use on shoes and letters with only Pantana spray. We have the Krylon sprays, watercolor and paints, the oil, chalk paints, the alcohol paint, metallic paints, the little Floetrol, and we have cleaning products for the artists, thinning products for the artists, and Crayola colors, and glitters, pencils, the Posca markers, and pastels, oil, and the acrylic pastels, dyes. Oh yeah, we also have airbrush paint. I didn't forget that part of the movie. Gift sets, hobby craft,
Oil, shrimp,
clays.
stew, shrimp gumbo. But art supplies. We have a lot of them. Sherwin Williams Art Store. Find colour in every day.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Your health just got brighter with Lamp Insured. Sign up for Doctors Hospital's Lamp Insurance Supplement Plan and enjoy copay waivers and complete access with no upfront ER or inpatient collections. DoctorsHosp.com/lamp to sign up or contact 242-822-1009. That's 242-822-1009. Your journey to affordable and worry-free healthcare begins now.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pensions retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Marcia, are you scrapbooking?
No, Dad. It's a vision board for my dream home.
Take a look at CIBC Caribbean's Realtors Hub. You can get pre-qualified for your mortgage, connect with the best realtors, and get up to 95% financing with up to 35 years to repay.
Really? Wow. It's perfect for a first-time home owner like me.
Honey, it's even good for old-timers like me.
Visit CIBCFCIB.com/Realtors Hub to get started today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own, reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, January 30th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And this morning we are talking with the Water and Sewage Corporation. They are getting ready to roll out digital meters. We're very excited to learn more about this. Joining us, we've got Senior Manager of Strategic Coordination of the Strategic Coordination Department. It's a long title, Montgomery Miller. And we have Public Affairs Manager on the show. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Dwight. It's good to be here.
All right, so this is very exciting. We're going to get to that in just a second, but I have to ask you about the notice we saw a few weeks ago.
Actually, Friday evening.
It was Friday evening?
Almost a week ago,
I've had
correct.
a very long week. Okay, so warning people that you're having some issues and that conservation might be required. Tell us about that and where do we stand with that right now?
Sure. So Friday evening, we put out a notice alerting our customers that we were experiencing operational challenges. As a result of those challenges, we implemented water conservation measures from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I knew that would cause some alarm, but it was really just a precautionary measure to ensure that we conserve water. And as you can appreciate, water is a precious resource.
Definitely.
And we are in dry season. So we updated our customers. I just want to go on record to say we resolved those challenges Friday evening.
Okay.
But the water conservation measures remained in place for several days, and we're still in that period. So we said 7 to 10 days. So we're just approaching the 7th day, which will be tomorrow. We are in dry season. No, it's not a drought. We were just in our update saying that usually the demand is higher in dry season. Persons wanting to
watering their
correct.
grass and stuff. Okay.
So we're just asking, just bear that in mind,
right?
Because water is a precious resource, and
Yeah.
we do take it for granted. But we wanted to ensure that those levels were monitored and at appropriate levels for when when the demand is high.
Right. But resolved now, but still conserved because, as you say, we're in dry season.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, this is a protocol established across the region. While we were dealing with that matter on Friday, I had family in from out of town, and my sister-in-law said, they just gave out a notification in my county for the entire month of January and February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so good to know. Good to know that issue is under control. All right, so digital meters.
Yeah, we're launching. So when you think of water and sewage, sometimes innovation may not come to mind, but that's why we're here today to talk about innovation and how we're improving the customer experience. And Montgomery will lead us into that today.
Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be here, Dwight, and good morning, Bahamas. We, water and sewage, as Ms. Elden has pointed out, and I think both of these topics kind of dovetail together. We have been in a process of digital transformation for some time. And so the technology that we utilize for our metering, which is for the consumer water service, has transformed over time. And I oftentimes use the illustration when I speak about this topic to say that water and sewage is simply making the transition from the bubbler to the smartphone.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to put it.
Right. And it ties in well with the topic that you raised, Dwight, about conservation. Because for several years now, the corporation has been focused at the macro level, at the utility scale, when it comes to water conservation. And you may have, I'm sure, heard this term non-revenue water,
Right.
which is essentially water losses that are taking place where we're producing water at the supply side, but not all of that ends up being to the benefit of our customers on the micro and the retail side. And so one of the tremendous benefits of using the digital meter is it's an extremely accurate device, and it's an intelligent device. And so in some instances where we would have had failures of the analog meter, where it's not registering, where we have in some instances customers that have been having leaks, undetected leaks, and they're not aware of it, which is a waste. The smart meter actually is recording and maintaining that data, and in the ultimate manifestation of this installation, we will be able to provide customers with virtually instant alerts that something is going on and they have water losses.
Wow.
And so that's really the vision that we are transitioning now to make sure that we are helping our customers, because two of the main objectives of our 2025 corporate objectives and our overall corporate business plan, our 5-year trajectory, is to focus on customer service and also efficiency. And so those two things are well being achieved through this implementation.
So many questions. Okay, so how does it work exactly? Do you need Wi-Fi? I mean, how? Tell us the setup. I'm not sure how this will look.
Okay, so let me take you from the old analog or mechanical meters that we used to have, which is simply a device that was mechanical. It would spin based on the water passing inside that meter. It didn't provide any information anywhere. So the only way to interpret that was to physically go and to visit the meter and to take a reading off the dial. Pretty
Right.
basic. With a digital meter, it's a battery-operated meter. It's guaranteed for a minimum of 16-year useful life, but it's known to go up to about 20 years. So the maintenance on that is much improved. That's one aspect. And also, this is a meter that does not have any moving parts. And so one of the obvious benefits of that is it's ultrasonic. So it reads by a technology that's basically a sound measuring, which is much more accurate than the mechanical meter. Here in the Bahamas, sometimes we have challenges from time to time where you may have little bits of sediment that are inside the water, and if you get a bit of grain, a sandy grain or whatever, they can impede the flow and that sort of thing. So with a digital meter, you don't have that issue. It's a smooth pass-through.
So where will it go exactly? Will it go where the existing meters are, or tell us more about that?
Yeah. So when we had this meter designed. It was specifically designed for WSC and for our peculiar situation. We use a particular type of threading pipe because the Bahamas history comes from kind of the British standard, and so even though we're very close to North America, we're relying on the same threading that matches up with our system. So when these meters were manufactured, they're manufactured to exactly fit into the same space that the existing residential meters fit. So it's almost like a plug and play transition that would take place.
And if I can add to that, the customer would not be impacted. So I think you're wondering, okay, how long is the downtime? So we're looking at 30 minutes or less and not having to interrupt the customer. So the customer doesn't necessarily have to be home.
Right.
For us to change out the meters.
Yeah, just provide you with access, I guess.
Correct.
If that's an issue.
Mhm.
So how big?
And this is also addressing other challenges that we face with our customers and the staff.
Yes.
Locked gates.
Right.
Dogs.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are a number of safety concerns to access, historically tried to access our customer meters. I mean, as you just mentioned, Dwight, the lock gate scenario, the dogs. Unfortunately, we have some persons that place their vehicles over where the water meter is situated. Garbage bins and so on. It tends to be a common thing.
The driveway.
The driveway, they pour it, they pour it on top of the meter.
Really?
Yeah, and so these things impede, and unfortunately, a lot of times customers don't recognize, but impeding us from being able to read that meter, which we do currently for residential customers on a quarterly basis, is not to your advantage, because what happens is if we end up not being able to read for 3 or 6 or 9 months, you very possibly can have a leaking toilet or a broken pipe in your yard. And so none of us are aware that this is going on. And so this is another key issue that the introduction of this digital meter is going to help us to resolve.
Right.
And I would also mention that an immediate plan that we have for the second quarter of 2025 is the implementation of monthly billing, which mirrors and aligns very well with this process because, as I mentioned, customer service is a key thing. And so historically, the legacy of the corporation has been to bill residential customers on a quarterly basis. But of course, that exposes them to the risk more potential for a leak. Yeah. So we're going to be reducing that period by 1/3 so that if there is a leak, now we'll be detecting that much sooner. And ultimately, as I said, in the full transition, we will be almost being able to give you an instant notification that something is wrong.
Right. I have a lot of questions
I
about
just
monthly
have to
billing.
interject,
Laverne?
Dwight, I just got to interject because I'm sitting here listening, but I'm a little bit in shock. You currently bill your customers, your residential customers, how often?
Quarterly.
Wait, so Laverne, because you're in Grand Bahama, you don't know
Right,
about this.
she
That's what you're
doesn't.
saying. Oh, I
Right.
see.
No, I'm in shock. I get it every month.
Yes, and thank you, Laverne. That's a very good point because in our promos, one of the things that we're seeking to do is to regularize the operations of the corporation to make it consistent with what is normal in the business world, right? We think about most employees and workers that get paid, typically most of us get paid on a monthly basis, some even a little more frequently. And so we have recognized the challenge that most people, everyone knows when their light bill, or you and Laverne and Freeport know when your water bill is due. And so when you're doing your little calculations of your bills for the month, you include it. Well, historically, one of the challenges that we have faced as well is with this quarterly regime, customers are really not aware. Is it March? And so as an additional service to our customers, we want to help them to be consistent with all of the other financial management that you also include, what is a very small, typically, water bill, except for cases where there's leakage.
Yeah. All right. So that's a great point. I wanted to ask about that. So yes, typically the bills are small. I'm sure some are concerned that if I'm billed monthly, it may not be just divide this number by 3, that it may go up. Is that, what do you say to people who have those fears?
No, there's no change. I mean, I think that last year we would have seen the Prime Minister came out because there was some ambiguity or some confusion outside in the space about what was happening. All we are seeking to do at this point in time is simply to transition from a 3-month or 90-day cycle to a 30-day cycle, and so the bill would be 1/3 of what that bill previously was.
Yeah. So you said second half of the year, any particular date? And if you have a balance at the end of the second half, how will that work with your first bill in the new monthly cycle?
Well, I mean, so right now we already have a billing schedule. And so what we will do is we're going to cycle. So those customers whose bill may have come due, for instance, in January and then in March, once we start to make the transition, the bill is going to be a true bill for only that period of reading. So you'll just simply get a smaller bill than you're used to, but it will come more frequently.
Okay.
So it should help
Yeah.
in your budget planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we have targeted the beginning of the second quarter, which would be April. We're working diligently right now to get all plans in place, and this is a part of that process as well, to prepare the public to these changes. So we will be able. So stay tuned, Ms. Elden.
Right,
will
we'll be
leading.
back.
You'll be back. Okay.
To discuss that.
All right.
But we just want to go back to digital meters. We have we started our rollout in July, just an initial rollout in celebration of our 48th anniversary. But now we've ramped up our efforts, and we want to make it clear that this is across the country. This is not just Nassau-centric. Sorry, Laverne.
Right. So what does it look like? Is it much smaller? Is it bigger? Okay, how do you describe it?
So as I indicated earlier, the size when it comes to the length of the device is exactly identical. It's 115 millimeters, so it fits directly into the previous space. If you, for most of our customers, if you just happen to look outside in your meter box, hopefully it's in a meter box or it's at the front of your property, you would have typically seen a blue cylindrical kind of device that in the industry they refer to it as the grenade. It kind of looks like a grenade.
Okay.
The new device is a lighter gray square box. And because it's digital, it has a digital display. When you open it up, it's normally asleep. essentially.
Okay, I'm seeing it there.
Right, and when you open it up for conservation purposes, is only when you open the old Casio solar calculators. Only when you touch it, it wakes up, and so that's how the meter pretty much functions.
Okay.
And we also want to ensure that the meter box that houses that meter, just to make sure they do not remove them, it's in an effort to protect the meter.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So, and there's no cost to the consumer at all.
Absolutely.
They have to be concerned about that.
Absolutely, no cost. The installation is all at the expense of the corporation as we make this digital transformation. To Ms. Elden's point, I would also add that we are encouraging customers, if you do have a meter on your property and you do not have a meter box for whatever reason, it may have been destroyed, it was misplaced, whatever happened, we would encourage you to contact our customer service call center, 302-5599. Report that to us, because the intention in this process is to ensure that every meter is protected in a meter box, which is our standard protocol and our standard setup.
All right. So now that you're going digital, people who have the service know that you will see your workers reading the meters. Will that change? Or are you going to be like a certain fellow corporation of yours that says they can read these remotely, and you wonder, are they really doing that?
So that's entirely the point, actually. So when we spoke about issues of safety, even the amount of strain that's put on an individual having to access and to bend over and so on. In the initial, it's a 3-stage process, essentially. We will continue with the manual reading now as we do the full deployment, because we have a total target throughout the country of about 65,000 meters that have to be replaced, about 45,000 on New Providence or so. And so that obviously is going to take us some time. We've started small and we're ramping up. We've just secured the funding to do the entire change out in mass. When that happens, we will start to go into various areas. So you can imagine a particular jurisdiction, Nassau East or Elizabeth Estates and so on, and we will change out an entire, what we call a cycle and route area. And at that point, then we will begin to do what you referred to as what is a drive-by, because these devices are emitting a radio signal every 14 seconds that a drive-by device with an antenna is able to collect that signal and to capture the reading. And so that is the intention, in the first instance, to go with a drive-by network system.
And how accurate is that? There's no reason to be afraid that you're just estimating or anything like that?
No, it's very accurate, and customers will have the opportunity to check and to see exactly how that system works. Again, as Ms. Elden indicated, when we come back, we can dive deeper into how it actually works and what's the technology. But it's well-established global technology. This is same systems that are used in Jamaica, in Turks and Caicos, even here in New Providence and other installations as well. So it's very, very common, very well known.
Yeah. We're talking with Montgomery Miller Corporation, talking about their new digital meter rollout. If you have questions, you can text us 422-4796. You can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or from the Family Islands, 242-300-5720. This texter's asking, how would a customer know when you'll be in the area so they can give you access to their property? Do you make an appointment? Should they call in? What should they do there?
It depends. We will be scheduling, like I said, when we're doing the mass rollout, we will provide advance notifications to areas that we're moving in, and we anticipate that we'll do it in a very structured way. So we move from east to west, depending, but we're working now to determine that specific rollout schedule. We would encourage customers, like your texter, to please contact us and make sure that we have your accurate customer information. This is an exercise that we've been doing as well, because sometimes we find that the mobile contact number, the email addresses are not valid, and we are moving into a digital era where we want to communicate instantly back and forth with our customers, and so that would be very helpful to provide the communication.
Yeah. Will this help you to identify exactly where the leak is, not just letting you know that there is a leak?
Well, the meter will isolate the leak to the individual customer. Now, if the person is meaning where inside
their home.
No, so that's still within the remit of the plumber. Okay. But the benefit is the meter actually produces an alarm. So when we do a drive-by and we collect that reading, or even if the customer were to interrogate the meter to check the meter, there's a signal that will come on the meter that indicates essentially that you've had continuous flow for a certain period of time. Typically, and the way that this is detected, the technology works is, most of us will be asleep, let's say between midnight and 5 o'clock in the morning or something like
Right.
that. During that period, if your water is running continuously, something is wrong. And so the meter retains that alarm to notify that there's an issue, and then that is an issue that needs to be actioned. And
Okay.
so that's a little different from what happens now, where most customers become alerted to a leak because we send them a high bill after 3 months. And so we're trying to eliminate that issue completely.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Great show as usual. Dwight and your guest. Good show as usual. I have a quick question for your guest, right? And this is very important. Why is water
Okay.
the well system?
We missed everything you said there. Say that one more time. You were breaking up.
Okay, sorry about it. I'm asking you, right? Why is water and sewage forced to use their services opposed to electric well system?
Okay. I don't know if that's happening.
Yeah,
but,
that's not happening. Well, I could speak to it. We do have some concerns. There is on New Providence. This is not such an issue that you see in the Family Islands, thankfully. But on New Providence, the most densely populated of the islands within our country, there are quite a number of persons that are using private wells. Typically, we found there are two scenarios when that happens. One, if there may be certain areas where WSC to a certain point did not have water supply available and subsequently did, and so the persons have just been kind of grandfathered into use of the well. The other scenario is where, as we've talked about quite a bit, customers have high bills, and because the groundwater is very accessible, particularly under New Providence, they sink wells. Now, there is an important flip side to this issue that the customer should be aware of. During the course of year before last, when we were preparing our corporate business plan and looking at this issue, one of the things that we did was we went out to the public and former customers of WSC, we tested their private wells voluntarily. They allowed us to have access, and we tested their wells. We have a accredited lab at Water and Sewage. We do water testing. And of course, what did we find was that this water, groundwater, is contaminated. And so we are strongly encouraging customers, actually, because most people they're not certainly testing their well. It's very unlikely. In most cases, they're not following a disinfection regime, using chlorination on a regular basis, and it's a scientific approach that needs to be taken. And so, as a matter of national security and public health, we actually have encouraged the government, and we've informed all of the relevant stakeholders that WSC, in building out our infrastructure, is making sure we can provide safe, potable water to the entire populace, and we, as possible, persons utilizing the private well supply. Because in many instances, with the use of septic tanks along with private wells, you find that there is contamination.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what are you finding? What type of contaminants?
E. coli bacteria, which is the key marker, and that is the indicator that affluent human waste is now seeping itself into the groundwater. And that's something that is very difficult for us to manage and to protect. And so the solution to that in developed country is to provide a safe, piped network potable supply. So at least you make sure that everything that's going into the body and what you're bathing with is clean and suitable water.
I'm just curious, is there a requirement, is there a mandate for restaurants to use the public system as opposed to a well?
Restaurants, schools.
Okay. They have to.
Yes, they have to.
Okay.
They are mandated. And we have established kind of a compliance regime where we've been going back to make sure that the restaurants that are operating locally, because a lot of times people only think of water from the drinking point of view, but you have to think when you're in a restaurant or in your kitchen at home, you're washing your fruits and vegetables with water. And this water, you could think that you're doing a wonderful thing with a beautiful fruit, but you're putting onto that fruit water that is really not clean and good for you. Also, nursing homes and where they're vulnerable persons, preschools, all of those are mandated to have potable water supply from the Water and Sewage Corporation.
And who's checking? Who do we know that they are complying with the rules?
The ultimate responsibility is with the Ministry of Health, and so we've convened several meetings with them, and so they are working. They do their surveillance, and WSC as well from our customer service database. We know who the schools are that are registered. We know certain preschools, and so as the information is shared, we check. We notify Ministry of Health as well, and they perform an inspection to make sure that they're using the correct water supply.
That is very good to know. I've wondered about that for a long time. It's very scary. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there?
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. He spoke to two issues regarding well water. I think one is the customers who are grandfathered in, especially in I think Water and Sewage just has arrived in the Adelaide area, going into Coral Harbour, Adelaide area. And we would not, although we wanted water and sewage, it was a fight to get them there for about 15 years, so we would have to use what we would call brackish water, treated, but it's still coming from a pond area that's settled behind the Adelaide area. So you have a pond, and then you have the water table itself, so you get that kind of mix with brackish water. So we keep getting water tested and all that stuff and treat your water. It's really hard on your appliances and your faucets and stuff in your household.
Correct.
My question is, with being a homeowner in that particular area and basically paying for the last 15 years for water sewage, which they arrived, I think, last year to run lines in that particular area. But now it's a substantial cost to get it installation for people who would like to come on the water and sewage system. I think, where the mandate, which people thought it was a mandate, where they say, hey, you have to come off a well and also water and sewage. I don't think it's more so of it being a mandate. What about the people who might want to come? I think water and sewage could actually say, hey, guys, if you want to come on, we will bring you on, and then, put in the infrastructure is already in and allow those people to make that easy transition onto the system. A lot of people might not make the transition onto the system based on cost. So that's one observation, Dwight. Also, as in relation to contamination, it's not just sewage. It's actually, we had a major leak in the Coralaba area by BPL and their gas fuel line, where we could smell the fuel in our well.
Wow.
Right? But there was no, it wasn't like we had an issue as it relates to turning on water and sewage. It was not in the area at the time.
Okay.
What we could do is use the water that's coming out of the ground.
Sure.
So so it's just asking water and sewage that I know they got to do digital meters, which is smart. But is there any future in allowing people who might want to make that transition, and might not be capable of having that high cost to pay up front? Is there something that they're looking for to get people back on, get on the system?
All right, let's get them to answer that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad he brought that up. Actually, as a matter of fact, we had a team out. We've just created a revenue enhancement unit. And part of that unit's responsibility and mandate is to go into areas that just what he spoke to. Ordinarily didn't have water for years, or persons, didn't have sufficient people living there. The infrastructure cost was very high to those persons that originally moved in there. But we've canvassed several areas as of Tuesday, and the team continues to go out, and we will be visiting those areas and asking those persons who wish to join the system if they're interested. If they are interested and they're in those areas and they're listening, please do contact us. 302-5599.
Yeah. So I remember a few years ago, folks from Pinewood to join. So I think a lot of people take it for granted that you're not everywhere. Tell us more about that. I mean, so I guess it's new subdivisions maybe, or how does it work? Well, where are you not located?
Right. So there are a few pockets still remaining in New Providence where we don't have water supply. And typically that happens to what Ms. Elden is touching on. Sometimes you have these developments because there's a requirement that subdivisions that are planned and they go through the approval process.
Right.
That doesn't always happen as it should. And so the infrastructure is not put in place. We are currently reviewing quite a number of what we refer to as long service connections, which is customers that are beyond. Because if you read the Water and Sewage Act, every person within 200 yards is what the act says, which is 600 feet of the corporation main is really required to be connected. But obviously, when developers are creating subdivisions, they should be putting the relevant water, electricity, telecommunications infrastructure in place. That doesn't always happen. And so then we have a certain number of persons that are living in an area, and the numbers grow after a period of time. And so we're putting infrastructure after the fact, and that can be onerous. But I think
they have to be responsible for that. That's
whether or not it's feasible to do.
Yeah.
But specifically to what the caller raised, we have run a program, and we will be running again, basically a win-back process. And so that's one of the things that we are definitely looking to do. And we invite the customers, just as Ms. Elden has said, to come into us and we look at them. Even with the well testing customers, we did a similar thing, which was to invite them to come into us.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest myths that exist out there, going back to the well water, is Montgomery spoke to those persons that we tested voluntarily. I had the opportunity to speak with several of those customers who indicated, well, I only brush my teeth. Biggest myth out there. Biggest myth. And I'll just leave that right there.
Oh, boy. Wow. All right. Callers, we'll get to you in a second. This person's trying to get in your business. Well, I guess we all need to be wondering about this. Will there not be a cost in the water? How are you paying? How are you covering the cost of installing all these meters?
So the government has supported WSC. Obviously, this is a major capital initiative, $10 million that it would cost us. And so we have secured funding, which is a normal part of the work that we do. So we did secure funding in this particular instance from one of the local development banks. More information is going to be coming out on that very shortly, major announcement. And so that is the mechanism. And so we've secured funding. There's some things that the corporation has to do, even with respect to the caller's question about the unserviced areas. We are very sensitive to that. And so under the guidance of our general manager, Mr. Robert Deal, we have determined that all areas where there are significant numbers of populations, we have targeted and we have projects lined up now to do installations in those areas as well. And so you're going to see Ms. Elden and her team will be out in several areas promoting and advising customers that we're going to create the infrastructure and create the opportunity, because we don't wish for anyone anywhere, as much as we are able to help it, to not be able to have that access to safe, potable water.
All right, excellent. Let's take these calls really quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there?
Right.
Hi. Good morning.
Yes. Oh, yes. Just one more question, right? I'd like to add the first one, the monthly billing cycle, right? Are you guys still planning on billing monthly, or are you still going to do the 3-month cycle? And if you decide to do the monthly billing, what was the reason behind it? Because me as a general public, I really don't mind getting billed every 3 months.
All right, so you missed it earlier, but they are still going ahead with that.
Yes, caller. We covered it earlier, but yes, we are looking. One of the main things is to reduce the risk to you as a consumer, because even though you're comfortable with the quarterly bill, what you and all of us would be exposed to is the prospect of having an extended period of leakage. And as I mentioned before, one of the things that has been disadvantageous to both WSC and to the customer is where we have losses of water that are really not, they weren't for the benefit of the customer or for the corporation. And so we want to eliminate or minimize that risk in any case. And so that's one of the definite reasons that we're reducing that billing cycle and increasing our reading cycle, which is more important.
Okay, hope that answers the question. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Strachan. Good morning to your panel.
Hi.
Yeah, and I thanks for taking the call. I don't want to sound too blind. I'm not blindly dogmatic, right? I'm kind of self-educated. I work around the voice remote system for decades. And so what I wanted to share is that I'm glad that you brought this topic up, because I've been talking about this for like a long period of time on the airways, because I know the effects of the wastewater from the our machines going into the ground, which actually is about 70,000 TDS, right? That goes into the ground. I don't know how, they're required by law to some. I don't know if it goes into the aquifer or whatever, but what I was saying, I was wondering why you wouldn't mention, all right, listen, you said microorganisms, fecal matter being detected in the groundwater, but any beaman would have known that for decades, and I guess we would have other contaminants like heavy metals, etc., protozoans, and cysts and stuff, right? But what I did learn from voice osmosis was that the 0.5 microns and maybe the 0.1 microns would actually take out most of the bacteria, contaminants, cysts, protozoans, et cetera. And so what we had to do, we always had, there was a meter that we actually had to do that does a bacterial count per deciliter, per milliliter, per gallon, whatever. It would show you the amount of bacteria in the water, right? So you're talking about potable water, which is basically, but I like how you highlight the fact that potable water can be harmful because people actually, it's topical. You're still putting it on your skin, you're putting it in your mouth. But wouldn't it be prudent to have homeowners install a 0.1 or a 0.5 micron filter, which it would take out most, if not all, of the bacteria, but it still would need to be tested. And the thing is, I'm appreciating for you making them aware, because water is clear, and some people will always think it's good, and no one is actually talking about the effects of reverse osmosis systems. It's ground and back into the sea, and they're not mentioning remineralization of water, because reverse osmosis actually demineralize the water. So
let's get them to.
I'm concerned about. Do you have a website that a Bahamian citizen can go on and look and see? You know, you were talking about the enteric bacteria. But
So remember now, this is the Water and Sewage Corporation, so they want you to come to their systems and not necessarily stay with your wells. So that would eliminate a lot of the concerns there. But I don't know if there's any part you want to respond to there.
Well, I think
Thanks for the call.
he raised several points there, and I think talking about customers having their own system, first of all, that's a financial burden to the customer that I'm not sure everyone is prepared to take on. Mm-hmm. He also mentioned testing that water. Who's going to test the water for them? Which is a very, it sounds good, theoretically, but also when I talk to some of those customers that we did well test on, they talk about putting chlorine in the water. Right. Do you know how much chlorine to put? Do you know how frequently to put? Some people do. Mm-hmm. I'm not running away from that. Mm-hmm. But there are some people, I often joke about, I grew up in Eleuthera. We had a well, and my father would bring the tablets from Nassau, and my eyes would burn when I would take a shower. Wow. Yeah. And I'm like, this can be right. And talking to customers, and we have a lab, that's that Montgomery said is accredited, that meets World Health Organization standards. And that's what we want to emphasize. And that's our mandate to the people of the Bahamas. And we always have to be mindful of that. Go ahead,
I would just add, the caller said a lot, and we really thank the caller. He sounds very well versed in the sciences. A couple of basic things. One is the whole concept of utility of scale, right? The reason that we create utilities is so that they absorb the significant cost, and then we pass that on down to the smaller level. That's one of the points. And so the government is seeking, correctly, I think, to make sure that the corporation is properly equipped to monitor things like the quality and safety of water, the distribution and the rest of it, and to have people in place so that we don't have questions about what happens, how am I testing it? Every individual home is not you're not running on generators, right? We want to have a centralized system that provides a service at the lowest possible cost. I think he makes an excellent point. I appreciated the way he talks about the appearance of water. There are many persons that are probably using private wells, and they say, "Oh, the water looks fine." Mm-hmm. But if you go back, harken back to the previous caller, we know that looks can be very deceiving. Yeah. And so what you see, and that's the reason why we can't operate on just the appearance of things. We have to test that testing to make sure that what the public is receiving is safe, potable, drinkable, that is water. And if it's drinkable, then certainly topical and the rest of it, that standard has been met.
Absolutely. All right, so we've got about a minute left. Let's remind folks about the digital meters, these smart meters, and the rollout, what they will likely see in the next few months in their neighborhoods.
Yeah, so in your neighborhood over the next few months, don't be surprised. In fact, one of my colleagues called me just a couple of days ago, and he said, "Hey, Monty, I got a call, and my aunt said that they see water and sewage on the weekend, and y'all turning off on the weekends these days?" That was the big concern. And so I had to explain to him, I said, no, more than likely what is happening is because we are currently in what we would call like an initial rollout phase, where there are defective meters and so on. We've been having our guys go out into various communities, and they're changing meters. And so what you will expect to see, even on the weekends, are water and sewage vehicles, properly decaled, and our employees in their proper uniforms and so on, they may be visiting your property. And if you look very closely, you'll see them there for a few minutes, basically replacing your old mechanical meter and substituting that with a new digital meter. And so we will be doing that in short order. And then as Ms. Elden and her team will lead a larger promotion, and you'll see much more of this going on during the course of this year.
Right. Okay. And you'll be back to tell us more when the monthly billing starts.
Correct. We'll be
later
back
in the year. Okay, great information. Exciting. Looking forward to see where this goes. Nikolette Elden, Montgomery Miller with the Water and Sewerage Corporation. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Dwight.
All right, we're going to take a break and be back with our final few minutes of Morning Blend Business in just a bit. This is Guardian Radio 96.9.
Try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and binders, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it, just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in Nassau 361.
Spain sounds like this. But with a little Caribbean, it can sound like this. The world needs more Caribbean. And with FedEx, you can ship your products to every corner. With increased cargo capabilities, 24/7 shipment tracking, and shipping tools, take your business worldwide and enjoy life a bit more like us.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
What? You don't know what TDC is? Tourism Development Corporation? You mean the Ministry of Tourism? No, that ain't the same thing, buddy. The Tourism Development Corporation helps to develop and grow behemoth businesses in the tourism industry. You hear what they say, buddy? Oh, yeah. You don't know what all the things saying do? What does do? Check the website, boy.
Start your journey to ownership of our #1 industry today. Log on to tdcbahamas.com.
This is it! The big game is almost here, and the best place to watch it is at Nassau Cruise Port. Join us on Sunday, February the 9th for an unforgettable game day watch party. Huge screens, unbeatable food, and drink specials, and all the game day energy you can handle. Grab your friends, bring your game face, and score big with giveaways, drink discounts, and a chance to win exclusive prizes. Don't miss out on the action. Game day, Nassau Cruise Port, Sunday, February 9th, where every touchdown feels like a win. See you there.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The Securities Commission of the Bahamas has assessed $221.55 million in regulatory penalties against FTX Digital Markets for breaches of the Digital Assets and Registered Exchanges Act, the DARE Act, and the Financial Transactions Reporting Act. Though the payment of these fines have been deferred until FTX customers receive the money they are owed. In a statement, the SCB saying that the Supreme Court approved an agreement for the joint official liquidators of FTX Digital Markets to subordinate the Securities Commission of the Bahamas' regulatory claim against FTX. The court approved the claim subordination agreement between the liquidators and the commission, and it enables the reprioritization of the payment of all customers and other creditors of FTX digital markets. You can read more about it in today's Guardian business section. And while the government has introduced the mobile and the rather movable property security interest bill 2023 access capital through lenders, Deputy Prime Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, says that the bill is not overly optimistic, that the banks will change their very conservative lending policies because of it. He was speaking during debate on this in the House yesterday. Cooper calling for banks to become more innovative and provide greater access to capital for businesses in the country in order to help new businesses to start and existing businesses to grow. And BIKE president, the Bahamas Institute of Chartered Accountants president, Bertino Albury, says that several challenges have emerged in the business license renewal process. The deadline for business license renewals is January 31st, which is tomorrow, with the Department of Inland Revenue saying that as of January 23rd, there are 59,000 renewals that are still outstanding. This means that the DIR would have to process over 8,000 licenses daily if all the outstanding 59,000 were to submit their renewal documents through the online portal. But there's still outstanding licenses from last year, particularly from companies that meet the $5 million threshold where they need to file audited financials. Albury says that pending extensions from the prior year, that's one of the challenges. He says there's still businesses seeking extensions for audits and independent reviews from the previous renewal cycle. Read more about the concerns in today's Guardian business section. Overseas, the U.S. economy on a solid note, with consumer spending continuing to drive growth and ahead of what could be a significant change in direction under the Trump administration. The Commerce Department noting today that gross domestic product, the GDP, the country's output of goods and services, expanded at a 2.3% annual rate from October through December. For the full year, the economy grew a healthy 2.8% compared with 2.9% in 2023. The fourth quarter growth was a tick below the 2.4% economists had expected, according to a survey of forecasters by the data firm FactSet. And oil company Shell saying today that it's still moving its stock market listing from London to New York, but it's not having a live discussion on this at the moment. After announcing a 16% decline in full-year earnings of $23.7 billion from $28.3 billion, CEO Wael Sawan was asked if he was still considering moving Shell's listing to close the valuation gap on its U.S. peers, notably ExxonMobil. Speaking to CNBC, Sawan said the firm was always reviewing and the like, but that there, quote, is no live discussion at the moment on this in Shell because our number one priority is to make sure that we unlock the full potential of this company. Last year, he said that Shell's listing was under review because of a persistent gap between the company's valuation on the stock market and its U.S. peers, which makes it relatively more expensive for it to tap capital markets for money. Closer to home, in your Market Watch recapping trading on the BISX from Wednesday, your market movers, Cable Bahamas moving 1,500 shares, closing at 361, unchanged. Commonwealth Bank moving 23,250 shares, unchanged at $5.03. Focall moving 4,840, up 14 cents, closing at 640. Consolidated Water down 15 cents, closing at 517. And Emira Incorporated down 22 cents, closing at 9.25. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 3,091.01, down 0.23. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Laverne, to talk about this, I'll probably have to do this tomorrow, but there's a really interesting article in the Tribune today based on something Wayne Monroe, the National Security Minister, said, saying that nobody, not one person, and I know lots of callers ask about this all the time, not one person has been charged yet under the highly touted anti-gang legislation because of insufficient evidence. He's saying that authorities want to ensure cases have a high likelihood of success before taking action. Monroe said that officials are taking a cautious approach to enforcing the law, having learned from previous legislation that securing convictions requires careful preparation and substantial evidence. Mm-hmm.
It does, because Dwight, and we can't go on what somebody just says, oh, he's in a gang. Got to get proof.
Plus, plenty political party supporters would be considered, I'm sure, gang leaders and act even more shockingly than some members in a real gang. So we'd have half the country locked up. But very interesting that is the case. We'll explore this some more
I think
at another point.
You put the law in place, but it's difficult to prove.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other than word of mouth. Because people say, well, everybody knows who's in a gang.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, boy, I tell you. We're out of time. Laverne, thank you so much for being here with us as always. Talk with you again next week. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend of January 2025 tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green also coming up next.
Lampkin. Besides carrying all the roofing material needed to cover East End, Enterprises also has all the equipment needed to put it together and to protect your workers. At Enterprises, we got hand tools, power and manual, including hacksaws, hammers, mauls, wrecking bars, well, hopefully they won't need them yet, drill bits, tapes, plumb bobs, levels, and more. We got cement, concrete bond and fiber, lime, sand, and P-rock. We got dust masks, safety glasses, gloves, hard hats, and high visibility vests. Lampkin, what we got here at Enterprises is a one-stop shop for builders.
Alpha Sounds Promotion presents Back to Love, an unforgettable evening of smooth R&B vibes and cherished memories. Join us at the Nassau Cruise Port on Saturday, February 15th for a spectacular all-white affair featuring live performances by soul sensations Freddie Jackson,
Hey everybody, it's Freddie Jackson. I'm coming to Nassau, Bahamas, and we are looking forward to the night of love.
Also performing Regina Bell. Also today, February 15th. It's a spectacular all-white affair at the Nassau Cruise Port. Get tickets online. BahamasEtickets.com. Plantation Bar and Grill, Big Boys Cafe, and Tropics Bar and Grill. For more info, contact 822-6863.
And I hope to see you there.
You work hard for your money, so let your money work hard for you. With as little as $1,000 to start, you can watch your money grow by investing in CFAL's Bahamian dollar and US dollar mutual funds, each tailored to match your unique investment profile. Our expert advisors are dedicated to crafting personalized investment strategies to help you achieve your financial goals. Don't miss out on the chance to earn higher returns on your hard-earned money. Join the thousands of investors who trust CFAL and start your journey toward financial freedom today. Visit us at cfal.com to learn more about our saving and investment options. And let us help you build wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.